Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources.
World CBS News, com. November 25, 7:25 America, New York. Sweden's first female prime minister steps down after just hours. Magdalena Andersson got the job on a thin margin and was immediately dealt a huge parliamentary defeat. She was unwilling to lead a government with grounds to question its legitimacy.
RT World News, November 25, 7:23 America, New York. World's second largest population starts to shrink. India's total fertility rate has dropped below the replacement level for the first time, according to data released by the National Family Health Survey, NFHS.
CNN.com World. November 25, 7:02 America, New York. Britain and France escalate war of words after dozens drown in Channel tragedy. British and French leaders have ramped up a war of words over dangerous crossings of the English Channel after at least 27 people died making the sea journey Wednesday, bringing to a head simmering tensions in the migration crisis.
Wall Street Journal World News. November 25, 6:56 America, New York. Australia lends peacekeepers to help quell Solomon Islands unrest. Protesters have taken to streets in the capital and burned buildings in what the Prime Minister says is an attempt to unseat the Pacific Island nation's government.
November 25, 6:53 America, New York. LeBron James gets fans ejected from courtside on return and hits clutch 3 in Lakers' OT win. A season-high tally and getting 2 fans ejected, a return from suspension, was always going to make LeBron James the center of attention, but even by his standards, Wednesday night was eventful.
Wall Street Journal World News. November 25, 6:52 America, New York. China's state-run firms limit use of Tencent's messaging app. Managers at least 9 state-run companies told employees that chat groups set up for work purposes on Weixin could contain sensitive information and should be shut down.
RT World News, November 25, 6:49 America, New York. COVID strain, worse than Delta, found in 3 countries. Scientists are sounding the alarm, as what could be the most highly evolved strain of the coronavirus has been discovered in patients in different parts of the world. New York Times World News, November 25, 6:47 America, New York. Explosion outside school kills 8 in Somalia's capital. The latest in a series of deadly attacks comes as the country is gripped by election instability and by a drought that threatens 2.6 million people. The scene of a car bomb outside a school in Mogadishu, Somalia, on Thursday. New York Times World News, November 25, 6:46 America, New York. Suspect arrested in Wanangata Valley murder case. In a remote southern Australian area famed for its forbidding landscape and unsolved mysteries, the couple had set out for a week-long trip and were never seen again. A view in July of the Wanangata Valley, in a remote part of southern Australia.
November 25, 6:43 America, New York. Politicians are failing to deliver climate justice. Lawyers and scientists could do it in court. There were few memorable moments at the COP26 climate conference in Glasgow earlier this month, but a video address by the foreign minister of Tuvalu, speaking in a suit while knee-deep in tropical waters, is a hard one to forget.
Washington Post World, November 25, 6:34 America, New York. Philippines rejects China's demand to remove ship from shoal. The Philippines defense chief has rejected China's renewed demand that it remove its outpost on a disputed South China Sea. New York Times World News, November 25, 6:28 America, New York. A history of unusual Thanksgivings. From the pages of the Times. Cooking a Thanksgiving feast in Baltimore. RT World News, November 25, 6:26 America, New York. Rodchenko. Live. Legendary Russian avant-garde artist comes to life in deepfake masterclass video. RT Creative Lab has recreated the legend of the Russian avant-garde and modern photography Alexander Rodchenko in a deepfake video masterclass series dedicated to the centenary of Vikheutimas and on the eve of his 130th birthday.
CNN.com World. November 25, 6:24 America, New York. 8 dead and 13 children injured as bomb explodes near school in Somalia. At least 8 civilians were killed and 17 others injured, including 13 school children, after a suicide car bomb exploded in Somalia's capital Mogadishu Thursday morning, according to state media. Mirror World News. November 25. 6:10 America New York, North Korean, bans leather coats so people can't dress like Kim Jong-un. Since despot Kim Jong-un appeared on TV wearing a long leather coat 2 years ago, the look has become popular, insiders say.
World CBS News, com. November 25. 6:06 America New York. Egypt to reopen ancient parade route, the Avenue of Sphinxes. The 1.7-mile-long Path of God, lined with more than 1,000 Sphinx and Ram statues, spent centuries buried by the sands of time. But it's about to come back, with all due pomp and ceremony.
Mirror World News. November 25. 6:02 America New York. We've been left to die, says British dad hiding in Afghanistan with young children. A father from Bradford traveled to Afghanistan to protect his family when the Taliban came to power. Now he says he has been told to choose between abandoning his children or living in mortal danger in the country. CNN.com World. November 25. 5:59 America New York. At least 11 dead, dozens trapped in Russian mining accident. At least 11 people died in an accident at a coal mine in Russia's Siberia on Thursday, local authorities said, as emergency workers tried to rescue dozens more miners who were still trapped deep underground.
Washington Post World. November 25. 5:57 America New York. Bangladesh sends hundreds more Rohingya refugees to island. Bangladesh has begun relocating hundreds of Rohingya refugees to an island in the Bay of Bengal, despite concerns from rights groups over the conditions on the vulnerable low-lying island and that no refugees should be sent forcibly.
November 25. 5:54 America New York. U.S. adds a dozen Chinese companies to its trade blacklist. The Biden administration is piling more pressure on Chinese companies it claims could undermine U.S. national security.
Washington Post World. November 25. 5:42 America New York. Spanish metalworkers call off strike after pay rise deal. Metalworkers in the southern Spanish province of Cadiz are returning to work after trade unions reached a pay agreement with employers. RT World News. November 25. 5:42 America New York. EU country apologizes for forced sterilization. Slovakia has apologized for the forced sterilization of women under the communist regime in the following decade, condemning the practice which aimed to regulate the birth rate of the socially disadvantaged Roma peoples.